The real traders are the ones that have receipts to back up their claims. At StockX, I've been consistently providing you predictions and also showing you the following trades and so forth. It is very common that we tend to find the tops or the bottoms in a lot of these trades, and we're going to be talking about some stocks tonight, giving you guys some ideas of what happened today, and also show you a little bit about our receipts of the commentary that we provided on the predictions. Okay, so we want to constantly provide you this information so that way you guys can become better and understand a little bit about how our model works. Of course, we're not 100% accurate at the time, but we are very consistent in finding the right prediction and making the right call. The market is dynamic and it moves based off the news, but with our model we're able to accurately predict what's going to happen based on the overall gamma levels and understanding how the premiums function works. With this in mind here, we're able to adjust our strategy, take on various different plays, and find the right plays that are set up to be successful. We had another successful day today, and we discussed it on our Twitter and in our chat room. We found numerous successful plays, and the mentorship continues to grow as we find these perfect setups. So let's get into it and let's talk about what happened today and where we were at. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is what happened last week. So on June 4th, I have a receipt where I pretty much said I would like to say that, futures would be green, but we would see weakness in the market. Okay, this is on a tweet where I said that we're likely to be bearish. Okay, and I want to highlight this as well too, because this was last week. And the reason why I bring it up again is because my model looks at things in the future. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with charts, it doesn't have anything to do with that, but what I essentially assess is how the premiums functions work, and that's going to be crucial to understand. This week here, even though we opened significantly lower, I said last week on a Sunday, I told you guys we would be a bearish week. Though even though everyone was bullish with bank earnings, I'm getting bullish vibes. Okay, so and today was the ultimate test of that as well too. Okay, it's a very similar situation where basically, what happened last week is that we opened up strong and pretty much we dived, and then now we're opening up weak, and we've seen a little bit of a recovery on the S&P 500. So why is this? Why is the market structured like that? And it has to do with premiums. Okay, I mentioned here that I wanted to share the input on premiums and why it happens. Okay, so the first thing that you want to know here is this level 1 bearish, on what it means. So this level 1 bearish is basically the gatekeeping level where the options is at a very expensive price. When it comes to option trading, there's two sides to the table. There's the people that write the premium, and there's the people that buy the options. So that's like people like us, like we buy the calls and the puts. Our maximum gain is what we risk essentially. Like if I pay $2 for a option contract, my max risk is at $200 per contract. But however, the person on the other end who sells us those contracts, their max risk is unlimited, because that depending on whatever value of that contract is, let's just say they sell it at 2, but it goes to 20, then they lost 10x their value. However, their rate of return is at $2 that they receive for that premium. So it's very important to note that, because based on our model here, we try to assess at what point does the demand rise when the option premium seller basically wants to take advantage by selling those premiums. So in this case over here, you see an SPX hit this level 1 bearish right off the bat here, and pretty much was a bottom. Okay, so as we see here, let's go over our details that we discussed in the morning call. Okay, so in our war room, first of all, I want to show you that these levels are timestamped. I spoke that the market range, I gave the details of it, and I said that the market gets bullish as soon as it can start to stay above 58.20, and I said that the 58 may pose significant hard points, which was true. I also mentioned in my prediction, I believe it's possible to see a recovery beyond 58.2 at one point. I said I'm not too confident that it will hold, but it was pretty much there and then, and it pretty much hit as well. You can see here I'm on Mountain Standard Time, but you can see that my levels that I provided at level 1 bearish at 57.75 was basically the low of the day for today here, and you can see that that's where it pretty much held, and this was before the open. You can even see my chart here that I shown before the open, and pretty much that confirms that we call a bottom through our model here as well. Okay, so very interesting to see that moving forward. Now, going over our trades after doing our morning call, you know, we pretty much seen that we got our Broadcom 230 calls here. Okay, this was a great trade to start off the day here. It started to run, and pretty much we locked in 40% profits right off the bat here. Nice gain. You see people here making money, and they definitely did. Then we decided to swing the 235 calls. Okay, so essentially we made this trade free because we knew that there would be a pullback. We actually sold it at the right moment on these calls here, because now we made this play free. You know, we made close to $2,000, and we just put $1,000 back in, because the thing about this week is that we got Taiwan Semiconductor earnings, and that's a major catalyst for the stock here. Okay, then we gave out SPX 5850 calls here. So I said that there's potential for this to really rip, and as we go along, those calls continue to rip as well too. I did a very small size because I wanted to hold longer, but I mentioned to the team continuously that it's important that you sell those whenever you're happy. So a lot of the trades, a lot of the winners people took. We took these Tesla 310 calls that we also shared as well. I mentioned throughout the entire day that Tesla basically is showing very bullish premiums. Okay, the reason for Tesla showing very bullish premiums has to do with the fact that it hit my level 1 bearish right over here. So if we go back in our analyst channel, once again showing you guys the timestamped levels here as well. So this is the analysis that we do beginning of the week here. So we gave that QQQ live for everyone, but pretty much we mentioned that Tesla bottom was a key point where you want to consider buying calls. And it's not that you always buy calls on this level 1 bearish. You only do it when you see strong premiums and an opportunity to do so. So 379 was where it's at. This was yesterday in the afternoon. It's timestamped. There's no details here of any edits whatsoever. Okay, so that was near the bottom. It was off by a couple of cents, and you're seeing Tesla continue to surge here moving forward. Okay, so we saw a lot of chop here and so forth, but the S&P 500 call that we gave also ran up as well, and that was around 60% return. So we sold half our Tesla calls at that point, and then we later sold at around 130% moving forward. So as we go down here, our SPX, we gave this 58.35, which would be a nice scalp, and that definitely paid for a lot of people here as well. And if you guys look at our profit section here to highlight the success of all our trades that people are banking off of on SPY, on SPX, and all that, right? It's all about giving you guys the right guidance. And we're definitely the only room that gives predictions that are accurate and very powerful. Okay, but it all has to do with this level 1 bearish support that you see in here. Okay, so that's the SPX also bounced near off our level 1 bearish support. This is on our weekly premium, so we knew that it's potentially going to see 58.64 before the open, and we see that S&P 500 it's really strong once it starts to gap through this zone here. We gave our QQQ levels as well too. So around level 2 bearish is right over here. You might see a little bit of pullback here, so watch to see if QQQ can get through this 510 zone here. IWM also popped near the bottom of our chop range here, so we're looking at that. Tesla, perfect execution, we called that out perfectly. NVDA bounced right at my level 2 bearish support here too. You can see how accurate this is. The downside has been confirmed here as well, so let's see if it does manage to get through 137 or see a pullback here. So we're going to be watching that carefully moving forward. AMD also still stuck in our chop range. It's likely they can hit 121 again. ARM is still in our chop range, nothing there. But Broadcom, we did notice very strong premiums for, so I'm anticipating Broadcom could possibly see 231 and possibly 236. For MSTR right here, it did slightly dip below this 310 mark here. Its low today was at 303, but you can see overall that on the 30 minutes candle frames, that was pretty much the key support, this 310 over here. So that's important to remember here, because now we believe that MSTR, if it can get out of this chop range, then its first hard point is going to be that 348. That would drive a lot of the premiums higher. Last week we called out the top of MSTR to the T here, so it's very possible that you're going to see a little bit of a retest back to the top. There's potential that MSTR can be a double top here, so we're going to be looking at that. UPST looks very interesting as well. Popped off my level 1 bearish inflection point. You can see that ASML all popped on my level 1 bearish inflection point. So this is part of the reason of us being very bullish. You see that my inflection points are guiding us. You see that every stock that we provided is bouncing off those numbers, and that's how we're able to find how that works. Level 1 bearish, if you guys look at my Discord over here, we have a definition of what it is. So not only do these levels are strong inflection points, but they have meaning to them, okay? The level 2 confirms a trend, okay? So part of the reason why we're not playing NVIDIA is because the downside trend has been confirmed. We don't want to get calls on that. There's other stuff that didn't hit their level 2s, so that's why we're chilling on that. Level 1 is a gatekeeper, okay? This here is pretty much the initial gatekeeping that pretty much makes the premiums very expensive and is hard to get through. So because it's a Monday and the premiums on the put side are at their peak, right? This here gives a perfect opportunity for put premium sellers to sell puts contracts, right? And essentially what happens here is that the market maker also takes another side of the position by buying equity, so that those puts that they are selling and earning premiums for, because everyone is bearish, right? If they're selling a shitload of premiums to everyone, those premiums are gonna be pretty much losing value, and they're buying equity at the same time. So that's how market makers are literally banking off both sides, and we can see that here as well, okay? So we're gonna watch these level 3s as well too. That's usually the peak, and that's where you usually tend to find reversals here, okay? Now I'm gonna cut to the chase here, guys. The thing here is that a lot of Discords out there, they don't have a standard. They just drop trades. You're just a regular member to them. In my Discord, I spend time with everyone. I take time coaching and so forth. So, but besides all my trades that are not just washed up trades that, you know, you throw the dice on, we actually have a consistent detail about that. And we also have a standard where we acknowledge a trade is a good trade as long as it makes minimum 50%. If it doesn't make 50%, then I say, okay, you know what? That's a bad trade. Having this standard sets us apart from everyone that you see, guys, because people always have this communication thing where they say, oh,